Hey guys, my name is Matti and welcome to another quick little pro tip. And today we're going to be talking about a super cool effect that works really well with drone footage, but also with other clips. It's called the VERTIGO effect. Oh, and if you're wondering who won the 300K giveaway, I'll announce the winners at the end of this video. But first, watch this and then we'll get to the winners. So the VERTIGO effect is this weird, trippy, surreal effect that brings a lot of attention to your subject. It's almost warping or distorting the background. It's a really cool look. Now there's a few different ways of doing this and I'm gonna show you the proper way, but then also the easier, more quick, fast way of doing it with drone footage. Essentially, what's happening in the VERTIGO effect is that the camera is being moved closer to the subject, but at the same time, there's a zoom going on. So you're actually zooming out into a wider focal length, and it doesn't really look like the camera's moving because the focal length is changing to keep that same framing. But what really changes and causes this weird, trippy, surreal effect is the relationship between the foreground and the background, the distortion or the compression. And because of that compression, you're getting this cool look. So the first and proper way of doing this is to use something like a slider, or you could even use a gimbal or a glide cam, but it's a little bit trickier because you need to be zooming at the same time. So as we're dollying closer to the subject, we're also zooming out on the lens at the same time. In this case, we're starting with a 35mm and then we're zooming out to 16mm as we get closer to the subject. I think the best way is to try to keep the framing as close to the same as possible from beginning to end, but you can also play around with this and have a little bit of a zooming effect at the same time while this VERTIGO effect is happening. Super easy to do with a slider or a dolly, but it's a little bit harder to do with something like a gimbal because you're gonna have to have a motorized system to actually do the zoom for you while you're dollying in with the gimbal. So that's gonna be a little bit harder, but it's really easy to do with a dolly slider type thing like this. And it's an awesome way of just getting the viewer's attention, showing them that something's gonna happen. One of the best examples of this is in Jaws, which I can't show, but watch Jaws and tell me if you can find the really cool VERTIGO effect scene. Okay, so how the heck do you do this with drone footage? Because you're obviously not gonna be zooming in and out. You would need a massive drone system for that. Well, it's actually really easy, especially with 4K footage. All you actually need is a clip that's going forwards or backwards if you like, but forwards works really well. And then you're just gonna do the zoom in post. You actually don't need to change the focal length. You can just zoom into your footage, and that's why the 4K footage works especially well, because you're not gonna be losing too much detail. All right, so we have this drone footage here. We're just flying straight forwards. And what we're gonna do is go to the end of the clip and we're gonna put a keyframe on the scale at 100. Then we're gonna go to the beginning of the clip and we're gonna zoom in. The more you zoom in, the more trippy the effect gets, but you don't wanna overdo it at the same time. You can play around with the amount of zoom to get different looks, but here is the before and after. Boom, super easy, like crazy easy. This is like the most simple thing, but it's a really cool look that can just add that wow factor to some of your clips. And you can do this with any clip really. It doesn't have to be drone footage. For example, this glide cam shot, I'm moving forwards. Now this is 1080, so you're losing a bit of that quality, but you're doing the same thing here. You're digitally zooming out while the camera is moving forwards to keep that same framing and cause that trippy effect. Such a cool effect, but don't go overboard with it. Just like with the trendy transitions, if you use it all the time, people are just gonna get bored and it's gonna be really lame. Use it at key moments that you really wanna draw the viewer's attention or cause some sort of disruption to just really get the attention of the viewer. That's the big key with effects like this, is know when to use it and when not to, especially when not to. All right, that's it for this quick little pro tip, the VERTIGO effect. Super easy, super quick, and super cool. I'd love to see what you guys do with this effect, so if you're using it in your videos, tag me on Twitter or on Instagram and I'll check those out. I can't wait to see what you guys come up with, and here are the 300K giveaway winners. We have Jacob Carvelli, Elijah Brooks, Matt Cherie, Kevin Bywater, Jerome Lieberher, Keaton Connell, James Walker, Lucas Walter, Josh Vassar, and Maxence DeCroze. Congrats guys, you guys have won a $150 gift card to the Travel Feel store, and if you haven't checked out the merch and the presets and all that stuff, I'll link it down below. Thanks everyone for being a part of the giveaway, and a huge thank you to all 320, I think, thousand of you who follow this channel. Guys, I really appreciate you. All right, that's it for this one. Have a good one.